The new Starfox game is coming out on the Switch too, and honestly, I'm pretty excited. But not for me, for you. Even with $1,200 in GameStop gift cards burning a hole in my pocket, I'm still refusing to buy the Switch 2. And it's already been out for a year. Now, don't get me wrong, if you see my other videos, you know I love Nintendo. But here in Canada, the console's like $800. Like, what the f*** are we doing? You buy the console, a couple of games, you're well over a band into it, and I don't even have time to play the thing. But that doesn't mean I don't got Starfox fever. Now, in this video, I'm going through my whole Starfox collection. We'll make some good, we'll make some bad, a couple of reviews, fun facts. In this day and age, are they still even worth playing? And trust me, some of my favorites on this list are gonna piss you off. So let's get into it. Starfox Adventures, let's go! Now, before I get into this one, just know that Starfox Adventures is my favorite game on the GameCube, right behind Twilight Princess. And that's my all-time favorite Zelda, so you know that means a lot. And I'm a big Zelda fan. I should get a shirt. Daddy loves his Zelda. I'd wear it. Now, if you're not familiar with this game, Nintendo did something that nobody expected. A surprise. Kind of like when you're sitting on something hard and a tube comes out your hole, travels up your back of your pants, and pops out the top of your belt. Big time surprise. What language is this? What the f*** is she saying? They made Zelda, but with Fox McCloud. Starfox Adventures is probably the most divisive game in the entire franchise. Instead of flying spaceships 90% of the time, though there is a bit of that old school Arwing flying action, you're exploring planets, solving puzzles, collecting items, and busting a little dino ass up with a big old staff along the way, Donatello style. Because apparently, that's what space pilots do on weekends. What's really interesting is that this game actually started development as a completely different IP called Dinosaur Planet. Oh, you don't have a wave bird? You. Which sounds like one of those shitty YouTube shows my kids burn their eyes to. It wasn't originally a Star Fox title at all. Late in development, Nintendo decided to insert Fox McCloud into the game, which explains why it sometimes feels like Star Fox accidentally wandered into someone else's universe. Personally, I would recommend it to anyone who likes video games at all. This thing was good. Is it a traditional Star Fox game? Absolutely not. But that's why I liked it. Is it fun? What the f*** do you think I'm going to say? What have I been saying for the last minute here? The visuals still look surprisingly good for a GameCube game, and it has charm that makes it stand out from the rest of the series. If you like adventure games and you own a GameCube, or are planning to steal one, I would highly recommend picking this baby up. You shan't be disappointed. Step aside, Snoop. We got the real OG here. This is the Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. Back in 1993, this thing was basically black magic. Kids today, they complain when a game drops below 120 frames per second. Star Fox was out here running what felt like 4 frames per minute. And people thought this was the future. The game used the Super FX chip, which was actually built right into the cartridge. Nintendo literally had to put an extra hardware inside the plastic just to make the basic polygons work. There was a lot of money in it, a lot of effort, and honestly, the game still deserves respect. The controls are simple, the music's fantastic, and it established Fox McCloud, Falco, Peppy, and Slippy. But here's the thing. I don't like it. It's boring. Flying down the exact same linear path every level, making my eyes droop like a pair of beagle ears. I'd rather be out punching some henchmen on an adventure, upgrading my swords, collecting coins. I never thought the graphics even looked like it was going to be the future. To me, they were always just a visual equivalent of a bowl of jizz. It makes the 90s TV show Reboot look like 8K. I thought the same thing back then, and playing it today, right now, I'm thinking the same thing. All that said, real talk, this game was the future. It had 100% open doors for gaming forever, and we should all be thankful for that. It's basically the Wright Brothers airplane of Nintendo games. It looks primitive now, but without it, we wouldn't have gotten, I don't know, Wave Race? Star Fox Assault. We're still on the GameCube here, but returning to the old school style of Star Fox. The game that looked at Star Fox 64 and said, what if we just did everything? Space combat? Yep. Tank combat? Hell yeah. On-foot shooting? Oh, yeah. Multiplayer? Someone get me a bucket because I need a good milking right now. Assault tried to blend several different gameplay styles together, and honestly, I think it deserves way more credit than it gets. Yeah, I was just poo-pooing the OG Star Fox style, but with Assault, you can really feel that they tried to evolve the formula. The space missions feel fantastic, the soundtrack is excellent, and the story actually has some surprisingly cool moments. The biggest criticism people have is usually the on-foot sections. And I get it. I really do. They can feel a little awkward, but compared to some of Nintendo's stranger experiments over the years, Assault holds up very well. Fun fact, get ready. This game was actually developed by Namco rather than Nintendo's internal teams, which means the people behind Pac-Man helped create one of the better Star Fox entries. How's that for a crossover? If Star Fox 64 is the classic formula, Assault feels like the franchise trying to grow up without completely abandoning its roots. Next up, we got Star Fox 2. Wait, there's a Star Fox 2? You're goddamn right there's a Star Fox 2, and here we are. This game is one of the weirdest stories Nintendo ever produced. The game was completely finished, done, el completo. It was approved by Susan in quality. Then, Nintendo decided to cancel it. Oh. Not because it was bad, and not because it wasn't working, but because the Nintendo 64 and there was other consoles right around the corner, and they were just taking the world by storm. Nintendo didn't want people comparing the SNES aging 3D graphics to their shiny new next-gen hardware. So, the game sat unreleased for over 20 years. 20 years! Nobody even knew about this thing! To the gaming community's absolute surprise, Nintendo finally officially released it on the SNES Classic back in 2017. Which is where I'm playing it right now. And that's the only way I'm going to play it, because there's no way I can even get my hands on this thing. Honestly, Star Fox 2 is surprisingly ambitious. Instead of simply flying down a linear corridor, you're protecting planets and responding to real-time enemy attacks on a strategic map. In some ways, it feels more modern than the original game. It also introduced characters like Miyu and Faye, who basically disappeared into Nintendo's Witness Protection Program immediately afterward. Like, can we not bring those back to a Smash Bros or something, man? It's not perfect, but it's one of the coolest what-if games Nintendo ever made. Now we get to the king, Star Fox 60 Barrel Roll. I mean 64, sorry. This is the game that everyone remembers. Released in 1997, it improved on almost everything from the original. Better graphics, better controls, branching paths, full voice acting, and enough memorable quotes to fill a homoerotic jukebox. Good luck! You're becoming more like your father. Can't let you do that, Star Fox. Yeah, there we go. Half the reason people remember this game is because every character sounded like they were communicating through a drive-thru speaker from outer space. Fun fact, Star Fox 64 was one of Nintendo's earliest games to include force feedback through the Rumble Pack. At the time, feeling your controller shake in your hands was mind-blowing tech from the future. The controls were simple enough to pick up, but difficult to master. Here's the thing, though. I didn't like it. To me, it was no different than the original. Aside from the graphics being on par with other 64-bit games, the loop felt identical. You're still just flying forward and shooting projectiles as they come towards you. It felt like a 3D version of Xevious to me, and the whole time I'm playing it, I'm just thinking, I'd rather be playing Banjo-Kazooie. Anyway, roast me in the comments if you think I'm a dumb for thinking that. And there you have it. Now, I know there are a few Star Fox games released after Assault, but I don't own them, and I've never played them, so I'm not reviewing something that isn't in my collection or that I have first-hand knowledge of. Looking back at these games, it's kind of amazing how differently they all are. The original Star Fox introduced the series, Star Fox 2 experimented with new ideas decades ahead of its time, Star Fox 64 perfected the classic formula, Adventures went completely off the rails and somehow still worked, and Assault tried to combine everything into one massive package. And now we're staring down into the barrel of the new Star Fox release. Will it be amazing? Will it be terrible? We'll find out shortly. For me, the fact that it leans so heavily on Star Fox 64 probably means I won't be purchasing right away. Not to mention I don't have a Switch 2, but yet. But anyway, also, look at Slippy here. As someone who has previously owned frogs in my life, this design is just creepy. If you played any of these, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you completely disagree with my takes on the originals, feel free to just roast me in the comments. Now, hit subscribe, hit the like, hit the bell, and see me next week because I got a brand new video coming I think you're going to like.